Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a hypnosis session that I did with a lady who wanted to lose weight to be a more confident, leaner, stronger version of herself. And she could recall times in her life where she had that kind of strength, that lean physique, that energy levels, that health, but she couldn't quite access those same resources in the moment. And while I was talking with her before the hypnosis session started, she acknowledged that actually there was not only times in her life that would be very useful to feel that resourceful again, but generally the overall approach that she felt would make the biggest difference for her wasn't exercise, but more dietary choices. And that of the options of eating less, eating different foods, and eating less frequently, she had a sense that eating less frequently, so not snacking and perhaps missing one meal a day, because it gives it a black and white thing. It doesn't require a decision. It's just kind of like, well, I don't eat at that time. For her with a busy life would actually be a more suitable strategy. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is hypnosis designed to empower what's known as intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is really where you eat within a particular window, and in doing so trains your body to burn fat in the period where you're not eating, for one, but also the way in which you break the fast generally is good if it has very low carbs, because then your body continues to burn fat throughout the rest of the day. What's also important, and the number one reason that people don't follow some kind of weight loss plan, even if it's an effective plan, is because they feel like they're missing out on the desirable foods, or quote unquote desirable foods that they want the most. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is that the second meal of the day, the evening meal, has no limitations, has no restrictions. And there's a big ethos in this hypnosis session about delayed gratification. Because effectively, in most areas of people's lives, there's at least one area where they're happy to delay gratification. Quite often with money, people will not want to waste money in the moment so they can save that money up and buy something more important for them. And yet that isn't always the case when it comes to food. So the idea of not having a snack now so you can have an increased level of joy and pleasure and almost kind of you delay the gratification to the meal is really good, because it becomes true the more you think about it. Because if you ate non-stop, like every 15 minutes you ate something, how enjoyable is that food going to feel for you? In all honesty, it wouldn't. Your pleasure would be satiated because it's a constant flow. However, if you only had 2 meals a day, two things would happen. Those meals would be something you really look forward to, and the body would get used to eating at those 2 times a day, so would stop getting hungry. And in modern society, because we're used to snacking all the time, snacking is a relatively new phenomenon. You know, you didn't really hear too much about people snacking in the 1930s, 40s, 50s. It was this concept of you have 3 meals a day, and people got used to only eating at those times of day. And therefore the body adjusts to schedules. Now, in her case, her busy life meant that it was more difficult to kind of have, specific times of the day. But the ethos was that by not eating breakfast, you're training your body to burn fat at that particular point. And then you're going to break the fast with nutritious food. So fruits, vegetables, salads, nutritious micronutrient food plus lean protein. And you'll also hear in this hypnosis session a suggestion that your body is a reflection of the food choices. So if you're eating lots of lean protein, you can expect to see a lean version of you. If you're eating really healthy foods like salads and vegetables, expect to see a healthy version of you. So from that perspective, what I like about that, again, it's truer the more you think about it. Because if you eat really unhealthy food for a long period of time, guess what? You're not going to look very healthy. And if you're eating foods that are high in starchy carbohydrates, well, that's not lean. There's lots of kind of excess energy there that's going to spike your insulin, in which case, guess what? You're going to look chubbier or fatter just as a reflection of that particular food choices. I think this will be useful for anyone that likes the idea of intermittent fasting, but is struggling to create the resources, the desire to actually follow it through. But equally, if you're listening to this and you like the idea of losing weight and you feel like hypnosis can help, but you're not sure how to go about it, there will be a link nearby where you can book a free 30-minute consultation call so that you can explore what it would be like to work with me directly. For now, though, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And on the outward breath, that's it. Relax those eyelids. And as you close your eyes, just notice that you can give more of your attention to the sound of my voice. As you breathe in and breathe out, just get a sense that tension is leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in, imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, giving yourself permission to let go of those things that don't serve you. And while that could be tension, it could also be any stress, worries, or thoughts that you've been holding on to that just don't serve you right now. As you breathe in and breathe out, imagine what it would be like to elongate the outward breath. And imagine releasing that tension as you exhale, enabling you to go deeper and deeper, relaxed. As your body relaxes, I want you to recall the time in your past when you consider yourself at your healthiest, that it was almost effortless for you to make healthy choices consistently. And I want you to imagine that you're back there observing yourself like you're someone else. You can imagine that you're someone else, or a floating video camera just following your life. And notice your facial expressions, your body movements, how you breathed. And observe what you did that enabled you to effortlessly make those healthy choices. Imagine you're following you as you're going grocery shopping and looking for food. Imagine you're observing yourself as you exercise and work out. And I want you to observe that you didn't need to be perfect to be the healthiest that you've ever been. Your mindset back then wasn't, I have to and I can't. It was more that in that environment at that time, there were things that you got to do, choices you wanted to make. And the health and the strength and the energy was just a side effect of living in a particular way. And I wonder what would happen if we re-accessed that version of you at your most resourceful. I want you to imagine climbing into that version of you, perhaps from many years ago, and immediately feeling that feeling of perhaps the motivation or the discipline or the way you were thinking back then. In the same way that you can try on clothes in a shop to see if they fit, I want you to imagine trying on this version of your past. But in a really discerning way, I want you to keep the beliefs, the feelings, any attributes or qualities that are helpful for you, keep them and discard whatever is no longer useful for you. Continue to breathe in and breathe out, and I want you to imagine that you're returning to wherever you were living back then. Perhaps you could remember an apartment, a place where you were staying, and I want you to remember that bed, that pillow, and just imagine resting on the top, head on the pillow, accepting that at this point in your life you had all of the resources necessary to be the healthiest that you've ever been. As you imagine lying there on that bed, head on the pillow, as you breathe in and breathe out, notice that you're going deeper and deeper, relaxed. In fact, I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and you will imagine what it would be like to release all the tension there on that bed back in time to enable you to drift off into a deep sleep where you can access the power of your imagination. 10, eyelids getting heavier and heavier, all muscles around your eyebrows, eyelids around the eyes, just release that tension now. 9, focusing on the muscles in your forehead. The muscles responsible for facial expressions like concern or surprise, just identify those muscles. Breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. Then as you exhale, release that tension and release all tension from your forehead, but also the top of your head all the way down to the back towards your neck. 8, focusing on the muscles in your jaw and around your mouth. As you breathe in that resourceful feeling and then let go, notice that you can just release that tension in your face. And then 7, noticing that feeling is now spreading to your neck and your shoulders. Imagining that any and all tension that is not necessary just starts to gently melt away, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. And then 6, all the way down your arms to the very tips of your fingers. Maybe you can feel a tingling sensation or rigidity in one of the fingers. All clues that your body is going deeper and deeper relaxed. 5, as you breathe in, just imagine that resourceful feeling that you're breathing in is even relaxing your internal organs. Imagine your stomach relaxes. Now, heart relaxes. Now, lungs relax. Now, diaphragm, even your gut relaxes, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relax. And then 4, that relaxation spreads down into your waist. 3, all the way into your legs. Legs feeling limp, loose, heavy. That's it. 2, into your feet. Perhaps releasing even tension that might be around your ankles, feet or toes. And then 1, imagine what it would be like to fall asleep on that bed in a version of you that had all the resources necessary to be the healthiest that you've ever been. That's right. And then within your imagination, I want you to imagine a future version of you. A version of you that is doing the things that will enable you to be lean and strong and healthy. I want you to imagine that you're unlocking all of the resources to open up a window to a window. And the first window is a window of discipline. The best way to open a window of discipline is just accept that what you're doing is taking you to a place where you want to be. I want you to think of long, difficult journeys that you've had in the past. And some of them weren't easy, some of them weren't enjoyable, but you tolerated the journey if it took you towards a destination. I want you to imagine that you're waking up in a future body of yours, way into the future, where you set the intention that you're going to be lean, strong, and healthy. And I want you to accept that breakfast comes from previously eaten meals. You can drink water, have whatever you want in terms of liquids, and I want you to get a sense that you don't need breakfast, because if you can see body fat around your body fat is simply stored energy, and therefore if you can see an area of your body that you want to be more leaner, that's a sign that a previous meal is ready to be utilized for any breakfast. And if you accept that to be true, just let me know by nodding your head. Body fat is stored energy. Stored energy can only come from previously eaten meals. I want you to imagine how ridiculous it would be to fill up a fuel tank in a car if the fuel tank is already filled. I want you to imagine that you have more than enough fuel on your body to give you breakfasts for months and months. But in doing so, in choosing to eat your breakfast from the stored energy already on your body, you are increasing the pleasure and gratification you will have on your very next meal. In so many areas of your life, you've been happy to delay gratification in the short term for something more valuable in the long term. Every time in your life that you've ever bought something to use in the future is delayed gratification. Every time you've ever saved money or invested, that's delayed gratification. You already know how to delay the gratification into more pleasure and enjoyment in the future. So by missing breakfast, you're training your body to burn more fat and increasing the pleasure you will have on that first meal of the day at lunchtime. And then imagine it is lunchtime. And I want you to get a sense that the first thing you're going to give your body is nutrients. Because not only are you training your body to burn fat, but you're training your body to crave nutrition. And of all the things that exist on the planet, the most nutritionally dense foods are salads and vegetables that are brightly colored. The greens, the oranges, the reds. I want you to set yourself the intention that each day you will eat the rainbow. As many different colors of high water content salads, fruits and vegetables that you can find. But you will link them to 2 times of day, lunch and dinner. And for lunch, I want you to imagine that the very first thing you're doing is having these vibrant, intense, colored, high water content foods. I want you to get a sense that will fill you up, and then you will accompany that with some kind of lean protein to give you the leanness that you want. I want you to accept the suggestion that brightly colored, highly water content foods are for your health, and the protein is for your strength. you will have a desire to eat the leanness of meat and fish that you would like to have in your own body. Since you aspire to have a lean body, you will crave lean meats, lean fish, and you might even find yourself trimming the fat off these foods that you eat as part of that lunch, because you're giving your body the leanness that you want in your body. And if your unconscious mind accepts this to be true, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And notice how much more enjoyable that meal is by making it the first meal of the day. And by making that first meal of the day full of nutrition and full of lean protein, you're training your body to find this food delicious for you. And it is delicious. As the day goes on, you might find an urge to kind of snack. And each time a craving to snack comes up, I want you to set the intention that you are delaying the gratification to your next meal. Maybe as a child you were told that don't eat that, it will spoil your appetite. Only now, rather than eating something spoil your appetite, it's the other way around. Why would you spoil your next meal by eating something when simply by choosing to delay that gratification increases the pleasure you will have on that evening meal? You'll have a desire to have that evening meal with plenty of time to let it digest before you sleep. And there is nothing off limits. If you have a craving for sweet foods or starchy carbs, this is the meal to have it, and you'll have no desire to eat too much of it, because you know that a small amount of something is more than enough to satisfy any cravings and desires that you have. Generally, you're going to eat delicious, healthy food, but just know that anything is okay in this meal. And if you ever crave foods at any point in time, just set the intention that they will be included in a future evening meal. Imagine eating this and releasing a great sense of mindfulness that you can enjoy all the flavors, the texture, the smell, how it looks. By eating less, you enjoy more. By eating less frequently, you enjoy more. And by choosing what foods you eat in these meals, you're creating a body shape that is a reflection of your meals. If you eat lots of meals with big starchy carbs, then that's the body shape you're saying you want. But if you're having those meals that are healthy fruits, salads, vegetables, or lean proteins, or whole grain rice, the healthier food you eat, the healthier your body becomes. The leaner the food you eat, the leaner your body becomes. As you eat food high in nutrition, your body becomes healthier. And because you're eating 2 meals a day, your body's getting very used to this idea that it can just burn body fat whenever it's not eating. And if your unconscious mind accepts this to be true, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Imagine living that way for 6 months. Very soon you get used to not eating breakfast. You get used to having those vibrant, bright colors included in your meals. And notice that as you imagine 6 months have passed and you look in a full-length mirror, you're seeing a body that is a reflection of your food choices. Because you've been eating healthy foods and lean foods, your body is healthy and lean. Energy exists within foods. You can get natural energy And you can get synthetic energy, processed foods. Because you've been craving natural foods, you can see yourself in the reflection with natural energy. You're sleeping better. Your skin is glowing. Your body looks lean and strong. And your confidence is sky high. And therefore, you don't have to force your body to get lean and strong. It's just a side effect of making certain choices over time. I want you to get a sense that this is not a possibility. This is a destiny. This is just a cause and effect relationship of eating in a particular way. And you can increase the speed that you get to this body by adding more activity too. But they say that a good body is made in the kitchen, not in the gym. And I want you to get a sense that you are unlocking all of the resources you need to make great choices, to eat less but eat better, and to delay your gratification to make your meals even more enjoyable. It's now time to return to the present. Find yourself not only no longer back in that bed, lost in your imagination from years ago, but then again back into your present body right now. Hearing my voice firmly in the present as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you've returned to your physical body in the present at your current age, with all parts firmly in the moment, but having unlocked resources of the past and a strategy that will take you to the very future version of you that feels that you're going to be healthy, lean, and strong. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.